Hello to all our viewers and listeners, and welcome to the pilot episode of the Stump Mike podcast. In a world full of cricket podcasts, we are bringing you a brand new one. And why should you watch us or why should you listen to us? It's because we are going to present to you cricket with some numbers, with some stats, and some really interesting takes on all the happenings on the cricket field. My name is Rahul Patil, and I'm a cricket storyteller based in Wellington in New Zealand. I'm also the manager of the Cook Islands national cricket team. And when I do get a little bit of time from my hectic cricket schedule, I also work as a relationship manager in a multinational bank in New Zealand. It's my pleasure to introduce my co host for today, Sarvesh. Over to you to introduce yourself.
So this is Sarvesh. Thank you, Rahul, for the great introduction. This is Sarvesh. I'm just like most of you, just another cricket fan, but mainly into numbers and my numbers and stats. So this is what we are going to do. I'll will try to present as much as data, as many numbers as possible, in the most presentable format, in a format that our fans could relate. So yeah, this is what we are going to do. And today we are going to talk about SRH, Sunrisers Hyderabad, and how they are looking up for the upcoming season.
Absolutely. The IPL is starting on the 22nd of March, one of the biggest tournaments in the world. And we thought, what better occasion than to start off with the IPL? Now, if you're seeing me wearing my lovely official Team India jersey still, it is only because of the hangover of the India versus England Test series that is still with us. Phenomenal stuff by the Indians to come back after losing game one, winning 4-1 in that series. I'm also a bit sad today because of the fact that my other adopted team, which is New Zealand, has just lost a test series to Australia. We've got absolutely destroyed at the Basin Reserve in Wellington, and then in a close encounter in Christchurch today, they also lost the second test. So if I do sound a tad bit sad today, it's not because I don't like the Sunrisers Hyderabad. It is only because of the fact that New Zealand has lost. Right, let's kick this pilot episode. We're going to talk about the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Hyderabad, absolutely the land of the biryani, the land of the chai chan biscuit, as Harsha Bhogle famously said. I had the pleasure of being in Hyderabad earlier, actually last year, because I was there for the Cricket World Cup and I watched three games there. Fantastic city, a fantastic mix of the old and the new. Um, the public there, the cricketing public, absolutely brilliant. Really love their cricket, and they were supporting that. Those even though India wasn't playing, the crowd for the games that was there was absolutely sensational. As you can see, we're looking at the 2023 table from the IPL, and doesn't make very good reading for Hyderabad. um, we're going to start this IPL countdown right from the bottom, and the first team at the bottom, Sunrisers Hyderabad, winning only 4 out of their 14 games last year. Wasn't a very good season, was it, Sarvesh?
Yeah, absolutely. Lot of issues. Only four victories out of 14. And if you see the teams that they have beaten, none of those teams could finish in top four. So they have beaten four teams, and all of those teams were in the bottom six. They were not they did not qualify. And if you see their if you see their form, they started I think pretty decently, a couple of close games, and then they won back-to-back encounters. But after that, they could not manage to win back-to-back games. So Punjab and KKR they had a decent games, and after that, it just could not happen for them. And after that RR game, which was I think 10th, they lost four games in a row at the end. That is how their season ended, and it was pretty disappointing. I think when you look at the major contributions for SRH last season, they wanted somebody to step up in the batting. If you see the batting numbers, Henrik Larsson was the lone man standing up for them. He scored around 450 runs, and apart from that, there was Rahul Tripathi, Mayank Agarwal. But those are not the kind of figures that SRH fans would have hoped from them. 270 odd runs from both of them. I mean, these are not enough numbers for any team to qualify for the top four. Henrik Larsson was the lone man standing up in batting, and similarly in bowling, it was their experience, experienced fast bowler Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He has performed like he always does. 16 wickets. Mayank Pakande was on 12. Natarajan was on 10, but that's it. And if you see the contributions from their three key batters, it was even less than 50%. And this is something which I observed. Whenever the top three batters are not contributing for you, their contribution is less than 50%. That is where the most of the trouble starts, because you expect your three top three batters. When I say top three, what I mean is batters who are contributing the most for you. When your top three batters are not contributing more than 50, 55, 56, 55 or 60%, that's where the problem begins. And you could see that they could contribute to only 42% of the runs scored by SRH in that season. So yeah, problems everywhere.
Agree with everything you say, Sarvesh. I've got a slightly different take on this, and if you can bring up that last slide back on, which was the contributions that we saw. Now, I always use an analogy whenever we speak of Hyderabad to the biryani. To make a good biryani, you not only need all the right ingredients, but you also need the technique and the marination of the meat and the layering, and everything has to come together to give you those flavors. Now, with Hyderabad, traditionally, I find that they do manage to put together a good squad, don't they? They always seem to pick the right players and have a good squad, but somehow when they enter the field, it doesn't gel together, and then the end result is not great. Now, one of the things do remember is Brian Lara as head coach. I mean, that was one decision which kind of came out of the blue. Lara, obviously, not great coaching pedigree or credentials. Fantastic player, don't get me wrong. But one thing we always see in cricket is not all good players make for good coaches, because to be a coach and to get the best out of all these players, or in my terminology, to get out all the flavors of the biryani, you just need that special kind of person. And I don't think Lara was that. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, over the years, if you look at their coaching staff, they had VVS, they had Muralidharan, they had Lara, they had Dale Steyn, legends of the game, absolute legends of the game. But somehow, like you said, it just could not happen for them on the cricket field. Somehow, those coaches, somehow that backroom staff, it could not produce the kind of output that the fans wanted, that that the IPL actually needed. Because let's not forget SRH, which was the last team which won IPL. That is not Mumbai Indians or Chennai Super Kings. I think it was SRH.
It was, yep, that's right. It was with David Warner's SRH.
Yeah, I'm talking about the era before Gujarat and Lucknow came. So they were the
Yeah.
last team which won the IPL before CSK and MI. So SRH always had a good team. They always found ways to perform. They always found ways to surprise people in a good manner. But that is something which I see missing in last few years. And I think this year they had a lot of changes going on. They are having a new captain. They are having a new look backroom setup. Daleson is not going to be there. Lara is not going to be there. So they will have new coaches. Hopefully new ideas, new planning, new strategies, and I think hopefully it should kick for them.
Awesome. The other thing is we've got Daniel Vettori coming in as head coach this time. We've got a brand new captain, the 20 crore man, Mr. Pat Cummins himself, who can do absolutely nothing wrong in world cricket. He plays red ball cricket, he wins trophies. He plays white ball cricket, he wins trophies. And I think SRH are just hoping that they found the right man to lead this side. The other interesting thing is for the last 2 years, they've won the South African T20 comp with Aidan Markram at the helm. But Aidan Markram, who captains in the South African T20, to Aidan Markram, who captains in the IPL, seems to be two different split personalities, isn't it? It just doesn't seem to get that same kind of buy-in from the players that he gets in the South African T20 comp. Is there any reason, or do you see anything in there at all?
In fact, I was hoping that SRH would actually announce Makram as the skipper for this season. I hoped that they would do that before the auction, but they did not do that. And once, like we all know, once the auction finished and they announced that Pat Cummins is going to be the captain, I was surprised actually, because I felt that Aiden Makram, having performed for them in the SA20, I think he deserved a shot at it. I think they could have probably trusted him for at least one season. We don't know if we are going to have that mega auction next year or not, but at least they could have given a chance to Eden Makram this season. They could have seen how things go, and that would have allowed them to make changes before the mega auction, if at all it happens in future. But I think Eden Makram for one season, I think he deserved it. But like we all know, it did not happen. But yeah, hopefully, I'm just hoping that Aiden Makram doesn't lose his starting 11 spot, because, in my opinion, there should not be a question on Aiden Makram's starting 11 credentials. And yeah, of course, we'll discuss that in the session going ahead. Yeah.
And one last question before we move on. Obviously, they put all this emphasis on Harry Brook last year. You know, paid a lot of money to get him. Now, once they had paid all that money to get him, they almost felt compelled to play him in every game. He wasn't performing. They moved him up the order. They got him down the order. They played him in the middle order. And yeah, it just seemed to kind of affect the balance, the confidence of the rest of the players, because they were being shunted up and down the order, and people kind of didn't know their roles. With Harry Brook not being there this year, I think that will solve a lot of their problems, because when they paid as much as they paid for him, they had to play him, and that became a kind of an issue for them. But yeah, let's have a look at their squad for 2024. Um, I'll let you go off and talk about the batters when and I'll take over from the all rounders.
Yeah. So Travis Head is their major signing in batting. In my opinion, I think if you look at the entire squad, they have plenty of top order batters, plenty of Indian domestic batters who could bat there for them in the top order. There is Mayank Agarwal, there is Rahul Tripathi, and there is Abhishek Sharma. Abhishek Sharma, as we all know, is probably they are banking on him. They trust him a lot, and they see that he could deliver for them. They see sort of a next superstar in him, and so I'm hoping that he will get a lot of chances. And there is Anmol Preet Singh. Anmol Preet Singh is a player. If you remember, he was there with Mumbai before. He could not get a lot of chances. Then last season he moved to SRH. He could not get a lot of chances there as well. But his domestic form is something, in my opinion, which should earn him a starting 11 spot at some point this season, because I just don't think that they should keep ignoring him, because if it doesn't work out for them with Mayank and Rahul Tripathi, I think he should get some chances. And then coming to their keepers, there is Henrik Larsson, there is Upendra Yadav in domestic. Henrik Larsson, again, we don't need to discuss about him. We all know what he's doing and his capabilities. In all rounders,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably the best middle order batter in white ball cricket
Yeah,
at the moment,
absolutely.
isn't
If
he?
you yeah, if you talk about T20 cricket right now, there are two batters, Surya Kumar Yadav and Henrik Klassen. They are here, and then the rest of the lot is they are here. So there's a gap between these guys.
Quick question on that. What about Abdul Samad? We've been seeing this name for a long time. Always seems to come with a lot of promise and a lot of potential, but hasn't really delivered on that big IPL stage consistently, has he? Is this going to be the make or break year for Abdul Samad in your
Yeah,
opinion?
I think because if you look at Abdul Samad's again domestic season, he has done well. I mean, we can quickly take a look at what is happening with these guys in domestic season. You could see that Abdul Samad is somebody, they back him a lot. And I recently watched him in the Diva Patil tournament. He was doing brilliantly. He was uh, he was he was timing it well, and it looked like that. He's already into that IPL mode. Now his domestic numbers in Sayyid Mushtaq Ali, Vijay Hazare Trophy, they may not tell you the complete story, but I think he's somebody they trusted when he came on first, and after that he sort of looked like he's fading away. But recently, last season they brought him back, and he showed some promise again. So again, it has been that up and down kind of a season. And like you rightly said, this could be the season where he will ultimately have to deliver.
Just looking at some of those numbers, and the one that stood out for me when I looked at them was Abhishek Sharma.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been around this side for a long time now, but finally, you can see 485 runs in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, average of 48.5, is it?
yeah, yeah,
And a strike rate of close to what, 192 or 190. Those are just
yeah.
phenomenal numbers, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, look at 200s. I mean, if you are scoring 200s in a season, 350s, and there's nothing like that, right? Because out of 10 innings, if you are scoring five, if you are having 5 innings of 50 plus, and out of those five, two are 100 plus, so that means you are doing a great job. And his average again, he opens, because since he opens, it you are not likely to see him in that not out section. So his average may not look like 60, 70, but look at his strike rate around 192. Brilliant numbers.
Perfect. Right. If we go back to that squad now and quickly go through some of the other players in that all-rounder category, of course, we've got Washington Sundar, knocking on the doors of India for a long, long time. Unfortunately, doesn't get a chance in the Indian 11 or the Indian 15 for that matter because of the kind of talent India has. We've also got Shahbaz Ahmed there, who's also been knocking on doors a
Yeah.
long, long time and a proven performer at the IPL level. Um, also see my lovely, lovely countryman Glenn Phillips in there. Obviously, the four foreign player rule in the IPL prevents him from getting a lot of game time. But since last time, now we talk about good players always raising the bar and increasing their skill set. Since the last IPL, what Glenn Phillips has changed about himself is that he's become a very, very dependable off spinner.
Yeah.
And on Indian pitches, that might turn a little bit. He becomes a very effective option if you want to play and you find a surface that is conducive to spin. He becomes a really good option. And don't make a mistake. I think Ravindra Jadeja is the number one fielder in the world, but Glenn Phillips is the number two fielder in the entire world. And I won't be surprised if he gets a go at some stage in the tournament. I don't think he'll quite start, but at some stage in the tournament, if we find that some of the other foreign players um, are kind of short of form or injured or whatever, I'm sure Glenn Phillips is an able replacement. Your thoughts on the all rounders?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know what Washington Sundar can do. There is Shahbaz Ahmed. They traded him from RCB. They gave Mayank Dagar to RCB, and they got Shahbaz Ahmed in return. I think this is a great trade for SRH, because Shahbaz contributes in all three departments. He can bat. He will give you 2 3 overs at least on decent pitches, and of course he's a great fielder again. So I think what they were trying to do they were trying to cover, if at all Washington Sundar is not there. Last season we saw that when he was not there, they felt that they felt that hole at number 7, number 8. They did not have lot many players who could bat, who could replace, who were not a good man for man replacement for Washington Sundar. So I think in Shahbaz Ahmed they now have that able replacement. Of course, they two can play together, but if Washington Sundar is not playing, then Shahbaz Ahmed becomes an automatic pick. So it's a great trade for them. Then the next two names, I think they are doing again. Nitish and Sanve, they are doing great in domestic cricket. Sanve Singh, I watched the Punjab's domestic T20 league. Sanve Singh is somebody who scored. I think he was the highest run getter in that league, and he was the second highest
I'm
wicket taker.
I
I'm
want to
talking
stop
about
you
Sanve
right
Singh.
there.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing I've heard you say right now is you watch the Punjab Premier T20 League. Now trust Sarvesh to watch each and every game of cricket that he can get access to come up with all this stuff. That's just brilliant. I mean, I cannot imagine someone watching Punjab Premier League, but hats off to you, Sarvesh, for doing that. Off you go again. Talk about Sunveer Singh.
Yeah, Sanveer Singh and Nitish Reddy, I think they are doing great in domestic. Sanveer Singh, I felt that him and Ramandeep Singh, he's now with KKR. I think these are the two guys I felt that they could actually do a good job in batting and seam bowling department. Now we always feel that we do not have lot many players who could bowl seam up for you, who could and who could bat in top six or top seven. So this is one area I think Sanveer Singh and Ramandeep will of course discuss about Ramandeep Singh when we talk about KKR. But these are the two guys I think they can do a good job for us there. And again, like I said, Nitish Reddy is also doing a good job. I don't know if they will be able to manage him in that starting 11, because they like all the SRH teams in past 7-8 years, they have that jam packed Indian bowling core. Even in this case, you will see that there is Bhuvaneshwar, there is Natarajan, there is Umran Malik, there is Jaydev Unadkat. They also got Akash Singh. So yeah, they do have quality fast bowlers. So their chances that these guys could not make it to their 11 this season, but I hope that they get to play some matches at least, because I personally feel that these are the guys who absolutely deserve it this season.
Perfect. It's a great way to start talking about some spin bowling options. Obviously, a known name in the IPL circles. Mayank Markande used to play for MI and now is going to be wearing SRH colors. Absolute steal of a bowler in Hasranga for 1.5 CR. I was so shocked at that auction when he went for that price. Now, Hasranga captaining Sri Lanka. So obviously that experience plus lighting up a lot of tournaments, franchise tournaments around the world. Um, but then again, with the balance of the side and the kind of 11 that they have to come up, it's not a given that we might see him in every game, is it?
Yeah, I mean, when you have that kind of a squad, it is very difficult to nail down your overseas players, because normally what we see is teams have 5 to 6 top quality overseas players, and then there are two backups, designated backups, who we know that who we could pinpoint and say that okay, these are the guys who are going to play the role of backup and they are not going to start. But if you look at this squad, all those foreign players, it is very difficult to say which are those players who are going to play that second fiddle, because you can see Marco Jansen, he has done brilliantly for SRH, and even in World Cup he was fabulous. So I don't know how they are
Yeah.
going to fit in Vanendu Hasranga, Marco Jansen, uh, and all those guys in that 11. But I don't know. I mean, like you said, he may not play all the games.
It's the problem of plenty for SRH, and continues in that seam bowling department. Now, how do you fit the class of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Natarajan, Umran Malik, Jaydev Unadkat, Marco Jansen, Fazal Faruqi, and Pat Cummins all in one team? It's going to be a toss up. The good thing, and I love this about SRH, is over the years, they've always had good Indians fast bowlers. Right from the days of, I mean, Bhuvi's been absolutely a pillar for SRH for a long, long time. But we used to also have our Mr. Headband, who used to
Yeah.
play for them. We also have Natarajan, who's kind of made his name playing for SRH, then ended up playing for India, did really well, was one of those pioneers of that GABA test that India won in Australia.
There was Sandeep
Um,
Sharma as well.
Umran Yep, Sandeep Sharma as well, who's kind of, I think, played for so many IPL sides over the
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Um, but Umran Malik also, they've invested in him, and hopefully, the issues that were there around Umran Malik last season, because I saw an interview of Aidan Markram once, a post-match interview, and he was asked about what's going on with Umran Malik, and he said he wasn't too sure. Now, a captain saying that means that I don't think all was well. Fast bowlers need love, like leg spinners. They need some love, they need some care, they need someone to put an arm around their shoulder. And I hope for the talent that he is, that somebody in that SRH environment is putting an arm around Umran Malik and trying to get the best out of him. I mean, for me, he is a perfect impact sub player who can come in and do the job time in, day out. But yeah, just needs a bit of love and affection and a hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, yeah,
Your
absolutely.
thoughts on the fast bowling department?
The Indian fast bowling core is looking good. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Natarajan. Natarajan, I'm hoping that he will play all games and there are no fitness issues this time. But if he's somebody who is looking in again good touch. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is doing brilliantly in domestic cricket. His numbers are again great there.
Yeah,
We
can we
can,
bring up the numbers for the
yeah.
bowlers?
Let's take a quick look. You'll see that Natarajan 13 wickets in Vijay Hazare Trophy, great economy. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar 16 wickets in Syed Mushtaq Ali, great economy, great average, great strike rate. And Mayank Markande, of course, we did not talk about his numbers, but yeah, when he is looking good, so there's some competition for Hasaranga. And coming back to the seamers, yeah, so Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Natarajan, I think I expect these guys to play the key role for them from the Indian contingent. And then I think there is able backup in Jaydev Unadkat, so he could, give them that backup option. Umran Malik played few games in Syed Mushtaq Ali. He, like you can see, he has got 6 wickets. So I think SRH would be hoping that he will he will he'll start building some momentum from this season because they need him because when he came he came with a lot of promise and then it started fading away. So SRH will hope that he starts getting that momentum again from this season and he'll keep building on that.
Yeah, as I said, one of the things that sets good players apart from great players, what great players keep doing is they keep adding every time, they keep adding that little bit of 1%, 2%ers to their game. And I hope Umran Malik has kind of had some time to reflect and told himself that his job is not only to be bowling quick, but now starting to learn some of the tricks that you need. Because if you're just running in and bowling 150 clicks, batters now will watch your videos and they'll line you up and they'll study you and they'll know which areas they want to hit you in. So you've got to kind of keep adding something to your armory every single time you're playing. May it be the in swinger, may it be the leg cutter, may it be that yorker, may it be the slower ball, maybe the back of the hand slower ball. I don't know what, but I hope that he's been doing that so that he can just become a complete fast bowler in that 4-over environment that he is. One last question for you, if I may, is what do you think is the issue with Bhuvneshwar Kumar? I mean, his numbers clearly in this format are great, but he seems to have kind of fallen off the radar of the Indian selectors. Now, I do know that we took him to Australia for the T20 World Cup, and he had an okay kind of T20 World Cup in Australia. But when we lost that semi final against England, and we lost it pretty badly. He was one of the casualties of
Yeah.
that World Cup and never kind of found his way back into that Indian side. Um, I mean, we know that Bhuvi will always swing a white ball, red ball, whatever ball, Bhuvi will always swing it. And his pace is also decent. I mean, his pace, in fact, when he first came in, he was slower. Then he increased his pace and he started bowling really well. And we thought that he had found the right formula, but seems to have just faded off. You look at social media, he's still posting stuff, still saying that he's got that desire and that burning fire inside him to play for India again. But do you think we are likely ever to see him in India colors again?
So there are some players like Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Shikhar Dhawan. There are some players who that they may not make it back to the Indian colours, but somewhere down the line you want them to make that one final comeback. So Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, I think for me he comes in that category. He's somebody who is still performing well in domestic cricket. He's still doing his absolute best for the teams that he's playing. So I will hope that he'll get at least that one farewell series, one farewell match. Him and Shikhar Dhawan. For them, I think we just have to give them that one final send off.
Now, well said. Well, with that, it brings us to the end of having a look at the squad. I guess the next thing to do would be to kind of come up with the starting 11s for their first games. So we've both kind of put our heads together and we've come up with our own starting 11s. So let's have a look at those. I'll let you run through yours first, Sarvesh.
Yeah. So I think I'll start with I think Mayank Agarwal is somebody who I think deserves to get that chance at the very beginning, because you do not want to experiment a lot, at the back end. So I think start with Mayank Agarwal. Abhishek Sharma is an obvious choice, and then Rahul Tripathi. Now we all know that Mayank and Rahul, they haven't been scoring runs for they haven't scored runs for SRH in their last season, and these are the two guys. They are doing sort of occasion in domestic cricket as well. But you would want SRH to start with these guys and see how they are doing. If they sort of get going at the very beginning, then it's a fabulous news for them, because what that will do is if Mayank Agarwal clicks for them, then that will save them that that will save them that overseas spot of Travis Head. They can utilize that spot for the other players. So I think Mayank Agarwal starts for me, then Abhishek Sharma, Rahul Tripathi. Then at 4, like I said, no, Aiden Markram is somebody we should start all the games. There should not be any question marks on his selection. Then Aiden Markram, and then followed by Hendrik Klaassen. And then Abdul Samad, I think he should keep his place. He should be trusted. And then the all-rounders, Washington Sundar. And then I'll start with Hasranga, because uh, if you remember last season, I'll slightly divert here and take you to one of the slides, one of the earlier slides. If you look at SRH's bowling performances, there are only two players in the top 30 wicket takers last season, and then that's not the main point I'm trying to highlight here. The main issue is the areas in which these guys sort of considered runs, because if you look at their middle overs, now at the bottom you'll see that wickets taken in all the phases, and if you look at the middle over phase, over number 7 to 15, SRH took the least number of wickets there, 28 wickets, only 28 wickets. And if you look at the rest of the teams which did well, Gujarat and Chennai Super Kings, these two teams reached final. Look at them, 42, 52 wickets. Mumbai Indians, they were there in that second qualifier. So look at these teams. I mean, teams which did excellent job last season, they were kind of nailing that middle overs phase, and SRH was lacking that killer instinct in that phase. And again at the top, you'll see that there's boundary balls shot. So these are the teams. SRH again, they bowled 16.7% boundary balls in that 7 to 11 overs phase, and then again from 12 to 15, they were sort of in the middle section. So I think this is that area of concern for SRH, and I think they should primarily look to do better in this zone. They should look at the 7 to 15 overs as an area for their as an area for massive improvement. And I think Hasranga can do the job for them. He can basically give them those 4 overs which Rashid Khan used to give them. The sort of those 4 overs where he could just concede 20-25 runs, could give them 3-4 wickets. So that is the kind of performances they are probably expecting with Hasranga, and I think they should start with Hasranga straight away, because again, Mayank Markande has done good for them, has done well for them in the past. He is doing a pretty decent job in domestic cricket as well. But I think Hasranga, if you have him, then you have to play him. So I will start with Hasranga, then Pat Cummins. Again, in T20 cricket, I think my personal opinion is that his batting and his captaincy, they are slightly above his bowling skills. People may not agree with this, but I think Pat Cummins, the captain, Pat Cummins, the all-rounder, becomes a very crucial member of that team. So Pat Cummins is again crucial, and then Bhuvi and Natarajan, and then in impacts of Shahbaz, Umran, and Anmol Preet. Anmol Preet Singh, I talked about him. I think he should somebody who should come in for Mayank if it doesn't work out, or Rahul Tripathi. If these two guys, if it doesn't work out for them, unfortunately, then I think Anmol Preet should come in, or they should at least try to get him as an impact sub. He could bat for them and in top 4, top 3, and he could score pretty quick runs. So I think Anmol Preet, Umran again is a no-brainer. If you're batting first, then you would want some of your batters to go out, and somebody who could bowl. Somebody who could bowl should come in. So I think Umran or Shahbaz, depending on the conditions. If it's spinning, then Shahbaz, and if it's helping the seamers, then I think Umran should come in. So yeah, this is how my starting 11 looks.
Perfect. No, and your reasoning for Hasranga was spot on. Obviously, you've done a lot of study on those numbers, especially those middle overs, and who better to pick wickets and stop the runs in that middle overs than Wainindo Hasranga. Cool. I'm going to run through my 11. Obviously, no questions asked. Mayank Agarwal. I think last season was a disaster for him. He obviously got shunted up and down the order. But the best of Mayank Agarwal comes at the top of the order. I've got a lot of time for him over there. And I think if I was his coach, I would tell him, regardless of what happens, you're going to play all the 14 games for me this season. Go out there, express yourself, enjoy your cricket. He had a bit of an incident also recently where he drank some fluid on a flight and caused him a lot of distress, and social media went into a frenzy because of him. Just shows you the amount of love and adulation that is there for Mayank Agarwal. Another one of those guys who didn't get a very long handle when it comes to international cricket. Point to prove, and I'm sure he's going to come out in flying colors. Mayank Agarwal on song in T20 cricket can be as destructive as anybody else. So, yeah, absolutely has to start. Travis Head, the only reason I've got Travis Head as one of my overseas is because he offers you an option with the ball as well. He's destructive at the top. He's got all the shots, plays all round the wicket. He's got the scoops over third man, over fine leg. He can play the laps and all those new modern day age shots as we call them. But he is a brilliant, brilliant off spinner as well now. And on a wicket which is offering a little bit of spin, he could be really useful. Which is why I've got him up there.
I think you
Um,
forgot to mention about the killer mentality of Travis Head. Yeah,
Absolutely.
what
Yeah. Yeah.
David Warner used to give them, I think they could straight away expect that from Travis Head, that killer mentality.
Yeah. And I mean, he's won a one day World Cup final, with 100 in India.
Let's
So
not
his
go there.
confidence is going to be sky high playing in India again. So why wouldn't you take him in the 11?
Yeah,
Rahul Tripathi, again, a lot of time for him, did really well in the limited opportunities that he got for India. Selfless player, always puts the team before himself. So got a lot of time for him, and I think he deserves a again, one of those players, you put your arm around him, say, you're going to be my number three for 14 games in a row, and I'm sure he'll come good. He is due a big, big season. Next two names, number four, number five, no brainers. Nobody is going to discuss about them because they are absolutely destructive in that middle order. Should be playing each and every game for them. And think, I just have a funny feeling we haven't yet seen the absolute very best of Aiden Markram in the IPL. The kind of form that he shows in the SRH20, can this be the year where Aiden Markram, free from the shackles of captaincy, just comes out and shows his true self, just plays, enjoys his game, and hits the ball as far as he can? It could be that season. Abhishek Sharma, again, going by those Syed Mustaq Ali numbers, he is just in such good headspace and such good form. And I don't like wasting form. Form is rare as gold. Should not waste it, which is why he's there ahead of Abdul Samad in my 11. And I've seen him play, come down the order, and go after the bowling from ball one. People sometimes tend to think, oh, he needs a bit of time to first get set and then increase his strike rate. I don't think that is the case. I think Abhishek Sharma has got the experience now and knows his game really well and can start going from ball one, which is why he's in that kind of finisher position. Washington Sundar, no questions asked again. Pat Cummins, obviously, you've put 20 crores into your captain and you named him captain. So you're going to have to play him. Be really interesting to see whether he actually does play 14 games though. So it's going to be very, very taxing for him to do that and do captaincy. So it'll be interesting. But he just won a test match with his bat today. So his batting is as good as you said. His batting's probably and his captaincy are probably better than his bowling. So we'll get to see that this time as well. Bhuvi, no questions asked. Absolute legend, should be playing. I've got my Markande there, but then because I've used my foreign players, I had to put in an Indian spinner there. I thought the leg spin would work really well. He's bowled well in the domestic tournaments. And yeah, absolute no-brainer. If I had another spot for a foreigner, obviously Hasaranga would have walked into my 11. Natarajan there again, coming back, making a comeback into SRH colors again, in the sense that he was away from cricket for a bit with injury, then came back, and I think we might just see the best of him because of that form that he's shown in domestic cricket as well. Impact sub, obviously, if you're batting first, you want a bowler to come in, then that would be Umran Malik. Because I just think pace is pace, and when you want, and the name Impact sub, I think was designed keeping Umran Malik in mind, that he comes in and has that real impact with the ball when he does come in. But obviously, understand your point that if you are not batting first and you're bowling first and you're chasing, then obviously you'd want to replace one of your bowlers and get a batter in to kind of find that balance. But that is my 11. What have we got next? Have we got anything else to discuss?
I think we discussed pretty much everything. I think one thing I wanted to highlight is that I feel pretty bad for Marco Janssen. Mike, he's not featuring in both of our 11s, but I think he's somebody who is going to be the first victim of this new look SRH team and the overseas players that they signed. I think he absolutely deserved to be there. He's to be starting for them. He performed for them. He did well in World Cup. He's somebody who could bat as well. He could do everything. I mean, Marco Jansen is somebody, they're, maybe South Africa, they're seeing their next proper, we don't know. I mean, they haven't had that Sean Pollock kind of a player for so many years. Maybe, I personally see him in that kind of a category where, he could bat well at number 7, number 8, give good, reliable overs with new ball, with the older ball. He's somebody, I rate him a lot, but unfortunately, I think, he's somebody who's going to miss out. I hope
Yeah.
that they will, they will play him at some point in this season. But yeah, I think this is how our starting 11s look at the start of the season.
Absolutely. I think his place was under threat as soon as Pat Cummins was
Yeah,
bought for 20 crores. And then his place was completely gone when they made Pat Cummins captain.
absolutely.
So when they chose Pat Cummins, he already knew that oops, there is another foreign fast bowler here, which means who's going to be competing for my space. But then as soon as he was made captain, Cummins had to play, which meant that Marco Jansen was going to be the first casualty. The same with Glenn Phillips. When they went and bought Travis Head,
Yeah,
Glenn Phillips's place was under threat because otherwise, similar players, um, aggressive with the bat, great in the field, both offering something with the ball, which meant that, again, like for like. But when you look at them and their current form, Travis Head being the left-hander, being playing the opener, and at the top of the order, just has that slight bit of edge over Glenn Phillips. So he's also going to be the unlucky one to miss out. But then again, it's a long tournament. There are injuries. And yeah, things happen in the IPL. So we never know how it might turn out and who might end up playing. Right. That brings us to the end of the preview for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. I genuinely hope that this year, this biryani marinates really well and the layers of the rice and the meat are cooked extremely well. And at the end of it all, it gives us a full, flavorsome, and really enjoyable biryani to have. Um, on that note, I think it's a perfect time to say goodbye, and we will see you once again when we do our next preview, which is of the team which was on the number 9 position last year, which
right.
was the Delhi
Yeah,
Capitals. And yeah, lots to talk about that team as well. If you like this show, please do follow us. We are there on Instagram and Twitter, and our handles there are at the bottom of the screen. We are at the rate stumpmic_podcast on Instagram and stumpmic_pod on Twitter. We've got our individual handles there as well. You've got Crick Aspect and Rahul Patil NZ. Do give us a follow, a like, and as always, if you agree with us, tell us we're doing well. And if you don't agree with us, we'd love to hear your comments. So please do comment on this. Anything to add, Sarvesh, or is it adios?
yeah. It's yeah. I think it was a good first session. Uh, both of us doing it for the first time on this channel. I think hopefully viewers will enjoy this, and like Rahul said, we will love any kind of feedback, positive, negative, anything is great. Positive is good, negative is even better because that is how we will improve. If you have your starting 11s, you can obviously put them down in the comment section. If you have any suggestions, anything that you want to say, anything that you want to add, please feel free to add that in the YouTube comment section or on tag us on our Twitter handles. We'll be there.
Thank you. And from Wellington, it's good night, whereas from Mumbai, it is good afternoon from Sarvesh. Until next time.